So in my video, Endless Space 2 versus Stellaris, Soleimani asked, which game is most like MOO2, Master of Orion 2? And I didn't really know, so I figured, why not make a video about it? So here's my take on that. This game has to be played in DOSBox, so I've done my best to adjust the video quality and get it centered in the screen, but it's not going to be as good as the Stellaris or Endless Space 2 videos, but I've done the best I can. So play a little bit of this intro and then we'll get into the comparison.
Sir, stay on those shields. I need full power. Shields down to 60%. 50% and dropping. Launch emergency distress beacon now.
One of the first things I like to compare between games is how you start up the game settings. So Master of Orion, it's got difficulty settings. You can do tutor, galaxy size, medium, large, cluster, huge, small. I'll stick with medium. Galaxy age, average, organic rich, mineral rich, average. Number of players, 5. Tech level, average. So it's got a lot of settings here. Tactical combat, I don't know. Random events are turned on, and Terran's attack turned on. Not sure what that does, but I think I'll leave it off. Just accept the defaults. So that's the settings. Click accept. Then you can select the race you want to play. I don't know. Cylons kind of reminds me of Battlestar Galactica's Cylons in a way. I'll pick them. The name does anyway. Ruler name. Accept that. I like red, so I'll pick that. And enter my home star name, or choose mentor. I'll just accept the defaults. So, and then I'm in the game. It's a pretty easy start. This is a turn-based game, which is similar to Endless Space 2, whereas in Stellaris is real-time strategy that's possible. I thought I'd compare the game setup of Endless Space 2 next. So when I click on New Game, I can select my empire here and change it if I want to. Can select my competitors, gameplay options like competitors, speed, pirates difficulty, game difficulty, galaxy like the shape, number of constellations, etc. The thing I thought I noticed that was missing is the galaxy age, which kind of seems to be a resource setting in MOO2. If I go into this option here, click the plus sign, I do have a space where I can set resource abundance and anomaly frequency and stuff like that. So I would say that's comparable to the age setting for MOO2. I can also do the game, get into the gameplay and make a bunch of adjustments there. So this contains the same things as MOO does, just a lot more detail, and I'd expect that from a newer game. Anyway, when I'm done with my selections, I click Start. And after a brief intro, I get another intro that's specific to the empire I selected. I'm going to bypass that. So I get a screen that pops up about my empire, gives me a little bit of information. I can dismiss that. And then the tutorial pops up in the upper right hand corner, and that's how you start a game of Endless Space 2 and the settings. The Stellaris game settings are next, so I click New Game, and here I get a list of empires. I can go in and edit these if I want to, and I'll just go through these quickly. I can do the appearance, species names, name list, traits, name and class, city appearance, origin, government, ethics. So there's a lot of options here. Flag, yeah, I'll choose red because I like red, just like I did in MOO. Anyway, when I'm done, you can save that, go back, and if I like all this, I can go in and select that, and this gives me my game details, galaxy size, galaxy shape. So tech tradition cost, which is similar to what MOO has. It has habitable worlds, but I think it's similar to the galaxy age setting in MOO2. Anyway, when I'm done, I click play. Get a brief intro here. So I get when I'm in the game, I get a little introductory screen about what my empire is all about and brief background, what the origin is. And the tutorial pops up in the upper right hand corner just like it does in Endless Space 2. Since I ended the last two video segments at the tutorials, I thought I'd jump into the tutorial for MOO. It's a little different than the other ones, but it's in keeping with the style of the old games. So click on Info, and it brings up a list of categories like how to create new colonies, and it gives you some information how to do that. You can go back. I can click another category like space systems, and I don't know, dimensional portal. Allows ships to cross into the dimension of the Antaran homeworld. So nothing I mean, no graphics or anything, but for an old game, this is really pretty good. That is the tutorial system for MOO2. One of the things I'd like to compare between the three games is the game map itself. And MOO's got a nice colorful display. It also shows you the ships. Clicking on the fleet tells you what's in it. Also gives you an idea of where the fleet's headed. Systems you've explored, their names show up in a dim white or gray, and you can get information on the planets themselves if they're in that system. So that's good. Ones that you haven't explored, there's no name yet. You can click on it and it'll tell you that an orange star will frequently have planets, so that's probably a good one to explore. It'll also show you planets that belong to other factions, like this belongs to, I'm not sure who this one belongs to. I know this one belongs to the Antarians. You click on it and it'll give you the basic information about white stars. Now if I have explored a system that belongs to another empire, then I will get information on the planets in that system. So all in all, pretty colorful, pretty nice. In Endless Space 2, this is what the map looks like. This fairly advanced game. And in Endless Space 2, it's colorful. The planets themselves are not revealed to you at all. Like these paths go into nowhere. Apparently, it looks like. So you need to send a ship down this to explore it. When you click on a planet that's been explored, I still love the graphics in this game. So you get a readout of what each planet's like and all the details, and then you get a nice summary. If you make an alliance with somebody, then you can see their system also. Ships are represented on this map fairly well. If you zoom in, you can see I've got a fleet here of 11 ships. And if you move them, again, it'll give you an idea of where they're going. This is turn-based, so it'll tell you how many turns it takes to get there. Looks like the stars are all basically the same color, contrary to MOO2. So that's the game map for Endless Space 2. When you first start a game with Stellaris, all the stars are revealed. There's really not a whole lot of different colors to investigate them, and your ships are really well displayed on this. No names except for a few nebulas and things like that, like Dautari Expanse. As the game of Stellaris advances, you get more of the map revealed. All empires are revealed in different colors. Stars are different colors. You do have a hyperlane map you can turn on and off, so pretty nice. I would say out of the two games, Endless Space 2 and Stellaris, I would have to say this game, Stellaris, slightly reminds me more of MOO2 than the other one, simply because like MOO2, everything seems to be revealed. But that's just my opinion. I'll take a quick look at the user interfaces for the three games. So in MOO2, you've got some icons off to the right. At the top, you've got the current year. If you're not sure what some of these mean, if you right-click on it, it'll give you an explanation like this is the Treasury window. Close it. If I left-click on it, I can set the tax rate. Similar down here, if I right-click on this is my command points window. It tells me what's going on, so I'm paying a penalty because I'm over my command points by 2. Food, also you can right click on it to see how much food is being produced. So good interface. This is a list of freighters. This will take me to my research. I also got a row of icons at the bottom, which I'll go into later. Turn button, and at the top is the game menu where I can exit if I want to. So that's a quick summary of the user interface in Master of Orion 2. I'll take a look at the Endless Space 2 user interface next. Like MOO, it has an end turn button down in the lower right hand corner. It does not have the year up here like MOO2 does. It does have a turn number down here, but not the year. I'm not sure if you can change that or not. I haven't found the setting if you can. The basic resources and the menu options are up here in the left hand corner. It has things like research or technology screen, economy screen. It gives you a breakdown of your basic resources. In the lower right hand corner, you can also click here to bring up the game menu. You can save the game, load the game, exit the desktop, options. So pretty good. It's just like pretty similar to the MOO2 user interface. The Stellaris user interface does not have a turn button down here since it's not a turn-based game. It's real-time strategy. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you've got the year, similar to MOO2 in that respect. The resources are across the top. The main user interface gives you a breakdown of all your resources just by hovering over it. You get a tooltip. You get alerts along the top. It's also got a menu, some menus out of the left-hand corner. The game options menu is also down here in the lower right-hand corner. You can save the game, load the game, hit some settings, exit the desktop. So basically, at a high level, all three of the user interfaces are pretty much the same. Just a lot more detail in Endless Space 2 and Stellaris, which is something you would expect. I'll take a look at the research options between the three games next. So Master of Orion, you click on this bottom right icon here with the little microscope. Click on that. It shows you what you're currently researching in bright green. If you want to change it, I can change over this one. It won't cost me anything. If I swap over here, it costs me 234 research points. I'll just leave that the way it is now. And it tells me I'm 8% done, approximately 5 turns to complete it. And when your research is completed, you get a nice little alert, a little screenshot. Pretty cool, actually. And then you get the option the choice to queue something else up. In Endless Space 2, the research options or the technology tree is represented by this little beaker here. Click on that and it drops you right into this screen. It'll show you what's in progress, how many turns, what's up next. Pretty neat. It's got a circle, a technology tree that's a circle. You have to zoom in. There's military, empire development, economy and trade, and science and exploration. So in the close-up view, you can see what's been researched. You've got paths you have to follow. You can't just jump around from one to the other. So, a little different. In this game, at least, all your technology options are laid out. You can get an idea of what you're going for. Whereas in Master of Orion 2, you don't have that. You've got what's up next, and that's it. You don't know what it's going to lead to. So a little bit of difference there in the technology options between the two games. Next, I'll take a look at Stellaris. In Stellaris, you get to the research/technology options by clicking on the beakers here that say technology. That'll bring up the screen. You have assigned to each field you can research, and unlike the other games, you can research 3 things at once instead of 1. So if I want to change my research, I can do that. And similar to MOO, it gives you some choices. You've only got 3 choices in each branch, and you don't know what's coming up next. The thing that's not similar to MOO is that you can research 3 at a time instead of 1. Whereas in Endless Space 2, that's a similarity. You can research 1 thing at a time instead of 3. So a little bit of a variation there. Master of Orion has a colony screen. When you click this, you can see all your colonies. You can see how many farmers, workers, scientists, and what it's currently building for each one of them. This particular planet, you can't do any farming. It's just the way the habitability. I always have trouble with that word. The habitability of the planet doesn't allow for it. I can see this is a large terrain, low gravity planet, whereas down here, small toxic, normal gravity. I can also sort by various things like the name, population, food, etc., etc. So nice little screen here. Also, if I click on the name, it takes me right to the planet. Gives me a nice visual of what the planet looks like. Some more details up here, and then I can return to my colony screen. So pretty nice, pretty good screen. In Endless Space 2, the equivalent of the colony screen in Master of Orion 2 is the Empire Summary screen. When I click on that, I get a breakdown of all my colonies, so I can find out what the population is, when it's going to grow, approval, if there's a hero there, similar to Master of Orion 2, what the outputs are, what it's constructing. If I click on something, it gives me a visual readout, and I can change it down here if I want to. The one minor difference is I haven't found any way to get to the colony itself when I click on it like I can in Master of Orion 2. So that's a subtle difference, but all the information you need about the colonies is contained right here at this screen. In Stellaris, the equivalent of the colony screen in Master of Orion 2 is contained in the outliner, and you may need to change some settings to get the planets to be visible. I turned off sectors and turned on planets just so I'd have a better view of them. So I can go through here as a whole list. If I click on one of these, it takes me to the planet summary screen, so I can look at what's building, what's being built, if anything, upgrades, look at the population, armies contained, holdings. So there is no visual representation as such of the colony itself. So that's a minor difference between Master of Orion 2 and Stellaris. But on the other hand, clicking on this brings up a direct readout of each individual planet, whereas in Endless Space 2 you get a summary. So a little bit different variations between the two. Master of Orion 2 has a planets screen. This represents all the planets you've discovered but have not colonized yet. It gives you a readout of the planet, climate, gravity, minerals, size. You can also do a sort priority like climate, sort them by minerals, sort them by size, and some restrictions like no enemies present, normal gravity, so that makes it more hospitable to your species. So pretty good planets are in range, so pretty good screen really. When you're done, you return to the main menu. In Endless Space 2, there's no colony summarization screen that I can find anyway. That's more represented graphically on the galaxy view. So when I look at a system, this tells me it's been colonized. So the blue dots indicate that planets have been colonized by you. The ones with a clear center, they're white circles, can't be colonized. And the ones with solid white circles are planets that can be colonized by me. And when I click on the system, I can zoom in. 2 colonizable and 2 are colonized. Stellaris, on the other hand, does have the equivalent of a planet screen in Master of Orion 2, and that's the expansion planner. You click that and you get a list of all the planets that you've surveyed. If you want that, you can filter it out by colonizable planets, terraforming candidates. There's none now because I don't have any research done in that area. So if I click on it, if I want to colonize it, I can click on it and got my choice of colony ships to build. Also gives me readouts of how much energy there is, minerals and food, how many districts I can build of each one. So pretty comprehensive expansion planner. There's also graphical representation, like this red circle means that it's potentially habitable but not very friendly to my species. Same up here. If there's green one, they can also be green, which says that it is potentially habitable. So that's Stellaris. Master of Orion 2 has a fleets screen. I click on this, it brings up my fleets. I can change the focus by clicking on a different icon on the galaxy map. Hover over each one, tells me what it is. I can filter out support ships, combat ships. These are all combat. I can also look at the leaders. Clicking here, if I go to ship officers, it'll tell me what officers are assigned to what fleet. I can return to that. I can return to the galaxy map. Also, if I click on the leaders thing, leaders icon, it brings up the same screen I saw before. So Master of Orion 2 also has leaders that you can assign to colonies or to fleets. I can return to the galaxy map. In Endless Space 2, you can see a list of your fleets by clicking on the military status icon. Here to give you a breakdown of the fleets, if you click on one of them, it shows you what ships are in the fleet, shows you what hero's been assigned to it, same as in Master of Orion 2. Clicking on that takes me to the hero overview screen. I can click on the ship and get more details about it. One subtle difference is this does not take me directly to the hero screen like it does in Master of Orion 2. So I can close this screen and click here. That gives me an overview of the heroes, and I assign them to ships or to colonies as well, same as I can do in Master of Orion 2. Fleets in Stellaris over here on the right in the outliner, and you get a breakout for each individual fleet. Click on this one to bring up all the ships in the fleet. You can see details if you click on that. It also tells you whether there's an admiral assigned or not, and what the orders are. Double clicking on it will take you to the fleet location. Clicking on the admiral's portrait will take you to a list of admirals. It'll show you who's assigned to what and if there's any available. If not, you have to recruit a new one. You can also recruit generals, scientists, and governors, but not at this screen. So same as Endless Space 2, clicking on the portrait does not take you to the leaders screen. So in Stellaris, the leaders are over here on the left hand side at the bottom. Clicking on that will bring a list of all the leaders. So you see I don't have any generals, and you can recruit more of each one here, and there's the costs. So a little bit different from Master of Orion 2 and Endless Space 2. Master of Orion 2 has a racist screen, which is the equivalent of diplomacy screen. You get a list of who you've contacted, and there's more to be contacted in this game. If I want to negotiate with somebody, I click on Audience, click on the one I want to talk to, get a little intro here, and then the basic diplomacy options are available. I can declare war on somebody if I want to. I'm not going to do that now. When I'm done, I can return to the galaxy map. In Endless Space 2, I get to the diplomacy screen by clicking on this icon. So I can get a brief summary of what's going on with each empire if I hover over it. Clicking on it will bring up more details, and I can enter into trade negotiations with them. When I'm done, I can back out of that. Gives me the right relations. I've got a truce with these guys, an alliance with these guys. Very nice diplomacy screen. This diplomacy screen reminds me a lot of Master of Orion 2. In Stellaris, you get to the diplomacy screen by clicking on the contacts icon. This brings up a list of everybody you've contacted in the game. Clicking on one of the names itself will shift the focus over here to that particular empire, and it'll give you a breakdown of what their attitude is towards you, their diplomacy stance, and their powers compared to you overall. So if I click on the diplomacy icon here, then that opens up the screen where I can improve relations, harm relations, declare war, offer trade deals, etc. Pretty much the same basic options that I get, plus a lot more that I get in Master of Orion 2. When I'm done, I just close it out. So to me, when it comes to these two screens, I think Endless Space 2 diplomacy screen reminds me a lot more of Master of Orion than Stellaris does. So that's my comparison between the three games, Master of Orion 2, Endless Space 2, and Stellaris. And in my opinion, and this is really a close call because they're both pretty close, but I think Stellaris is more like Master of Orion 2 than Endless Space 2. And that's mostly because of the way it handles the research screen and the colonization screen. But on the other hand, if you look at diplomacy, then I think by far and away Endless Space 2 does a much better job of being like Orion 2, Master of Orion 2 than Stellaris does. So anyway, if you got an opinion, leave it in the comments down below. I really enjoy making these kinds of videos, although they are a little more challenging than my regular videos. So if you've got two games you'd like to see compared, or compare similarities between three games, put it in the comments down below. And until next time, this is Rich from Loner Strategy Games. Bye.